Let's see what's going on. What's the animal energy for Scorpio? Whew. I love this. So, the wolf. So this equates to a Hierophant energy in the tarot, right? But the beautiful medicine around wolf energy is very much about connecting in with our instinct and allowing it to move us without the head getting in the way, right? The wolf doesn't second guess itself, right? It moves as a pack. It comes from a place of just, I know exactly, when to be still, when to move, what to pursue, what not to. But at the same time, there's a beautiful energy around wolves that is incredibly persistent, right? When they're going after a piece of prey, it takes a lot for them to stop or get discouraged. They are such a persistent, beautiful animal medicine and energy with this. Along with the Hierophant aspect of this as well, the Hierophant is very much about everything being exactly as it should, right? But the feeling that also elicits within us when we are connected in to that feeling in truth that I am on my highest and best path. Everything is as it's meant to be. And even if things in my circumstances right now are not as I would desire them to be, in some way, shape, or form, I am connected into the faith and hope that I'm still where I'm meant to be, right? And that the circumstances will change eventually, but this is all part of it. Without highs, there could be no lows. Without lows, there could be no high. It's that kind of balance point, which is interesting. And it's taking me back to your initial meditation of that burning tree under that glass dome. It's kind of like that encapsulated energy. And then we have the moon, which is Pisces/Scorpio energy, right? Sort of looking on and observing. The moon is very much about the hidden aspects as well. You can see her fully, right, in the full moon, but why does she have so many different phases? You ever thought about that? How the sun is just like the sun, right? But the moon has phases. I feel like there's something to that as well. We're looking at kind of like an overall energy of like connecting back into the why you're doing something, but also, going within to do it, really aligning with that Scorpio superpower of yours, of delving beneath the surface, looking at your subconscious, looking at the shadows, looking at maybe behind or around something that you haven't looked at in a while. I'm seeing someone on a computer go into a folder that they haven't clicked on in a really long time and seeing what's in there. There's something in that for you. It feels really good. Okay. Let's see what's going on. I got this new deck, guys. It's called the Cirque du Tarot from Lisa Robertson. Guys, you're not ready. The Tower. Right. Remember I saw that burning tree on fire and that had a dome on it? This is really interesting. So the Tower is Scorpio energy, right? It's fascinating because this is about a big change. Remember how I said how this feels like, this energy feels like it's like a building of it before like movement forward. It's like a coiled snake, I was saying, in a weekly energy, or just it's building like a cobra before it just like goes right forward. So interesting with the Tower here. Now this is big change, but this is also, right, the rearranger, which means the Tower comes in and asserts itself, we could say, when we need to be realigned to our highest and best path, right? We make a few more fear-based decisions, right, than love-based decisions. We get off our course a bit here or there, and then the Tower comes in to kind of shake everything up to the point where we can be, boop, right, redirected, right? Repurposed even. So it's interesting that we have this energy, and notice all the fire here too, with like the fiery colors behind the wolf, and then the Tower here as well. It's really interesting, right? And the fiery tree. Fire is very much about transformation and cleansing and then building anew, like from, the ashes of what's left. It's interesting. But I'm also getting an energy here as well of like learning from the past, learning from, what you could do differently moving forward or next time. But this is definitely coming from a place of a major shift, big change, right? Let's see what else is going on. Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords is about that big clarity, big truth, but it's really interesting because in this deck, the Ace of Swords is, see these question marks? Is very much about okay, but where do I point my sword? Like, what do I do with this information? Like, it's kind of like, it's this place of like, from the Tower to the Ace of Swords. It's like, I can't unknow what I know now. I can't unsee what I've seen. I can't unhear what I've heard. I can't like go back from this, right? There's no going back. I keep hearing that. There's no going back. It very much feels like you guys are on a precipice, so to speak, this month where you're going to have some choices to make. And there might be some feeling around, but like which direction or what timing or what. And I would say even to take that and sort of simplify it as much as possible by, like we said, connecting back into the why of what you're doing, I feel like is going to be a huge source of clarity for you this month when things get a little confusing or muddled or hectic, okay? What else is going on? Wow, okay, so we got Three of Swords in reverse. Right, this intense month. So Three of Swords in the upright. I like to hold it in the upright even if it's reversed because I just like, I don't know. It's weird. But Three of Swords is very much about heart pain, tension, loss, sorrow, aggravation, pain from the past that's affecting the now. Remember, this is in your third position, so this is what you're going towards. So what I'm feeling with this, there's a beautiful aspect, you know, within how this is pictured here in this particular deck about, do you see how these like performers here are allowing everyone to see their pain, the swords through the heart? It's not hidden, which I'm really getting for you guys because I saw that moon and the hidden aspects. It's a glass dome on top of the burning tree. I'm really getting for you guys that this is very much about, because see that person behind the curtain there as well? Interesting. I'm really getting as much as possible. The more that you can pull back the curtain, right? The more that you can look at what you haven't looked at in a while, the subconscious or even old dreams or dreams deferred, as it were. Maybe, again, this could be reconnecting back into your why as it relates to your purpose or your relationships. Take that pain, take those lessons, right? And use it. That's what I'm getting. It's like taking that pain and using it. So actors, right? This is all about being on the stage, this deck, so let's just like go with it. Actors are told it's a bit of a cliche, where it's like, oh, you're having a bad day, you're feeling upset, you just got broken up with it, but you have to go do a show. Use it. Yes, they always say, use it, which is a way of saying take that pain and channel it into something that is constructive. Take the pain and channel it into something that is constructive, which is not a way of saying like keeping yourself busy for the sake of being busy or anything, but it's about allowing yourself by doing so to fully express that pain, right? So that you can then, like the burning tree, transform it, experience healing, and not have it affect you any longer. If you can fully experience your pain, if you can fully sit in whatever's coming up for you this month, right, that may not feel, you know, entirely comfortable, right, you stand to gain so much more from it. It becomes less about retreating or avoiding and much more about being willing and not afraid to fully sit in whatever is coming up for you, because it is back to this Tower. It's coming up for a reason. And with this wolf here as well, you can also trust that within this experience, it is part of the process. It is a part of an aligning for you, right? To get you redirected or back on the track that is of your highest and best good that you deserve. Okay? The Star. This makes me so amazingly happy to see this. So, interestingly enough, you know, these come one after the other because this is 16 and 17. So that tells me back to that Hierophant energy. This is part of the path. This is part of the process, right? Successive energies here. So this is a beautiful Aquarius energy here that comes after the Tower moment. But it's really interesting because what I'm getting with this, you know, the Star Aquarius energy has an element of wishes, right? Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment, wishes realized, but that star energy is very much about something that is of your highest and best good, your soul path, your highest purpose coming to fruition in a way that maybe could be a bit, you know, major, surprising, disarming, scary, right? Because this is major. It's a big deal. There's also an aspect here with this pearl here as well that begs the question, like, in terms of your purpose, right? Revisiting that, revisiting your why, right? There's an aspect of, you know, that saying, be careful what you wish for, which means that your old life, right, and your new life cannot exist in the same space at the same time, which means, in a manner of speaking, that your new life is going to require that you release your old one, right? Things must change in order for there to be change, right? And it's interesting because as human beings, we don't love change naturally, right? It's not something that we're just like, yay, necessarily, right? But I feel like this, with the big change of the tower energy here, and then what comes after it with the wish fulfillment and the hope and the faith and the love and the strong intuition, and then this is also being in the spotlight as well with the star energy here. I do feel like there's a really strong energy around a group of you that have been at a status quo or a certain level in regards to your work or your relationships or your purpose in some way. And there's been a stirring within you to go, I want more. I want to do better. I want an upgrade. I want a raise. I want this next level. I want to next level it. And you are being asked, in order to manifest that, to allow yourself to release what is keeping you from manifesting it, right? So in order to make room for the new one, it's about being willing to let go of the old one, right? Which is not always easy, right? And then there's this aspect within that as well of, let's get realigned. Let's shake it up. Because I'm seeing the hero's journey in my head, the hero's journey, where it's like, you know, there's all these steps to go through, and there has to be a great point of loss with the tower before they can really gain this like amazing, you know, shift or thing or position or love or whatever that is with the star. A great shift, a rearrangement, right? That is for the higher purpose, right? Of aligning you to your highest and best path. That is what we're going in with this month for you. And I'm not even going to sit here and pretend like it's not intense, because it is. But it's an opportunity, right? This is the energy as it is, Scorpio. You guys can choose to work with it, right? Or not. But I feel like for those of you who choose to, it's sort of like, it's the equivalent of like when you go to college. For those of you who've been to college, if not, it doesn't really matter. But you can choose to like kind of take an easy semester where it's like, 12 credits and you get, a couple days off a week. And then, but then you're kind of like saving the harder work towards, right before graduation. And then you're like, oh my God, well, that's a lot. This is the equivalent of you taking like the full 18 credit semester and like doing the extra credit and doing extracurriculars and then having a full-time job. I mean, it is intense. This is a big energy, should you choose to work with it, that you could be taking on, but it is going to land you somewhere that is far and beyond what you could even imagine to ask for right now, right? It's a lot of major arcanas, y'all. So to clarify the Ace of Swords, we have the Hanged Man, which is very much about a timeout, but it's flipping your perspective. It's allowing yourself to see something differently. So back to this question of where do I point my sword and these kind of question marks and the Hanged Man, revisiting your why. This is very much what this feels like to me, where it's very much about, let's just take the time. Let's just pause it. Remember I said there's this energy of feeling the crackling to get moving and like manifest things, but we're getting this like this advice of just like, but let's just like make some amendments. Let's make some edits, because if we jump out of the plane before our parachute is like, fully ready or formed, we're going to have a different experience on the landing than if we waited to make sure that we had everything in order and that we were feeling good about it, right? Because I'm seeing that image of you guys on an airplane getting ready to jump off into the great unknown, but I can see a group of you that are kind of like, ugh, like I want to, but there's a part of me that just doesn't feel quite ready or prepared, or I'm not sure of like where I'm going to be landing should I jump, right? And I feel like that's what this is saying here with the Hanged Man and the Ace of Swords. Just getting very clear on, the time that you need, allowing yourself that time, right? And again, this goes back to not just revisiting your why, but this feels very much about also, how do you desire, this goes back to like the weekly energy of like late February, which is moving us into March. It's connecting in with a desired state of feeling, right? Do you want this specific job and this specific like thing, as it were, or do you want to feel fulfilled, happy, and abundant? Do you want to be happy with what you have, or do you want to manifest what you think you want and feel like something's still missing? That's that age-old like experience of like, I have everything I could ever want, but I feel like something's missing, right? So it's like, do we want to manifest like feeling, or do we want to manifest specific things? Manifesting feelings and imagining ourselves feeling happy, feeling fulfilled, feeling abundant, feeling strongly connected to our purpose gives the universe just enough room for us to manifest what's going to elicit those feelings and not cut us off by giving us what we think is in our highest and best good. But ultimately, there's something better that we just can't think of, like from our human perspective, right? You know, I'm seeing an interesting scene from a show. I don't know if you guys are going to know this show. Holler at me in the comments if you do. The show called King of the Hill that was on for quite some time on American TV. There's an episode in which Hank, and the characters go with me on this, he wins a contest, and he used to play football like back in his high school days, and he has this chance to go to this football game, this NFL game, and throw this football through this like, tight opening. And if he does, if he gets the shot, he wins $1 million. Or he can have a former NFL quarterback, like professional footballer, throw the ball and he'll get $100,000 if he gets it, right? And it's this choice of like, should I do it myself and go for like the big guns? Or should I like have this NFL superstar do it? And if he gets it, have $100,000. Where am I going to place my faith and trust, right? In myself or in this other person? And I feel like the version of that for y'all coming through is kind of flip it and reverse it. And I would say your football, like go for the shot of the universe bringing you how you desire to feel over the $100,000 option of like, I want this job at this time in this relationship and this family and all of that, right? It's like, just leave it open enough and get that bigger prize, it feels. Clarifier for the Three of Swords. Right. So to clarify the Three of Swords is the Five of Swords. Right. Yeah, it's an intense month. So with the Five of Swords, it's all right though. It's for a greater purpose, y'all. Like it's all good. But the Five of Swords is very much about you and or others acting outside of their integrity. Right? Not everything being quite above board. I'm also quite drawn to the fact that the 5 plus the 3 is 8. 8 of Swords, which is about that restricted vision and that mental prison and that true analysis paralysis, right? That you have easy access out of should, only you, if you just choose, right? To just release yourself from that energy. But the 5 of Swords with the 3 of Swords here, it feels like it's very much about, this feels like the daylight. Remember how like they're, out showing everyone where the swords are and they're not trying to hide it. And then we had the daytime energy of like the, 5 of Swords in the middle of the day, right? It's interesting here. I feel like this is an interesting, another way to look at the use your pain situation around this, the 5 of Swords and the 3 of Swords. I feel, because remember the 3 are like grouped together and then we have these 2. I feel like there are past disappointments, regrets, failures, times when you felt cheated. There are elements from the past that are keeping you from manifesting from a place of a clean slate, which would make you just entirely human. I mean, that's how it is. You know what I mean? Like, you're not necessarily unique in this, but the fact that this is coming through with your energy in such a strong way right now really does suggest that you're really, 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 really being invited and asked to, like I said, reconnect in with your why, but to assume this hangman position. Take that time and sort through some traumas, sort through some disappointment, sort through some major shifts. Heal from it. Allow yourself the time and the space and the room to heal from it. So you can connect in with that clarity, why you want to do what you do, your desired state of feeling, and move forward with a lot of this pain channeled into something that is constructive for you, right? So you can live the life that you really deserve to live. That's what it is, right? But it does feel very phoenixy, which is connecting with your sign as well of, rebirth from the fire. All right, let's go ahead and get an oracle for y'all. So now let's get an oracle. Oracle for Scorpios. Oh, very happy about this. Okay, so we have the Dream Walker here, number 8, which is interesting because I was drawn to the 5 and the 3 of Swords and that 8. So I do feel like 8 is a magical number for you here for this month. So we have dreams, the collective good, illusions. Now, what's really fascinating about this article, is that with the dreams, illusions, it's about seeing things in an either better or worse light than they actually occurred or are, right? Remember how we were saying that there's an opportunity here to use your pain towards something constructive, connect back into your why, and to sort of gain some much needed clarity about your purpose, right? And about what you desire, and about being specific without being overly specific, right? I feel like there's an aspect here of the stories, and this has come through before for you guys, I feel like, but this is very much speaking to me of the stories that we tell ourselves, right? Sometimes they can be embedded in such a way where we're not even fully aware of it, right? But stories we inherited, or stories that we learned at a young age that we sort of adopted as our own. But you're being asked to really connect in and really get clear, allow yourself to be clear around what is true and what is not in terms of who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. I keep hearing it. What's your why? What's your why? There's such clarity in that. If you are in a, work position where you want to help others and serve the collective good and make it your piece of the world better than how you found it, then that is has the potential to align you to some really beautiful things, right? Maybe some unexpected things. But if your why is to, be in the spotlight and be famous and gain accolades, just for an example, gain accolades and have, respect and all of these ego-driven desires, right? That are very human, but ego-driven, right? And you're looking around your circumstances and finding that you're not exactly manifesting from that place. Well, let's get very clear and look at what's underneath that desire for fame, as an example, that desire for success, that desire for, respect, or to have this position or this relationship. What's underneath that? Get to the core of what is driving that need or that desire. And in doing so, allow yourself to reframe it, look at it from another angle, and then open up that freeway of manifestations that you can manifest. Maybe not those specific things in the way that you would word them, but something that's better, that's going to elicit you feeling really, really good. And outside of that age-old, like, something's missing sort of trap that we can get into when we manifest from an ego-driven place, as opposed to, a spirit-fueled desire to, feel a certain way.